first discovered racing when I was probably about 10 or 11 years old. I didn't really follow it before that, but yeah, I started watching a little bit of Formula One with my brother mainly, and then started in go-karts when I was 12. First race I entered was a mini max kart race. I'd done a little bit of practice in cadets, which is like the really junior sort of first karting category, and then I stepped up into what they call mini max, which was my first race when I was 12 years old. And I remember it not being a particularly pleasant experience. I was terrified. I started at the back, because you always do when you're a novice, and I very much finished at the back. But I was quite happy to make it through that weekend. I was so nervous that I think just ticking that one off and then getting the bug to do it again was the main thing. My first race team was a team called Jensen Kart Team, so a shout out to them. I definitely wouldn't be here without them. My mechanic, a guy called Tony, and the team run by Jack, JJ. And it's quite nice being back at a kart track now because it reminds me of those days, and it was like a big family. So yeah, I definitely miss those days. It's the reason I fell in love with the sport, and like I said, the reason that I continued to do it and get involved. The first kart I got to race was a hand-me-down from my brother. It was what they call an Esprit chassis, which I think looked really cool. There's one of them around here, and everyone else seems to think it's not very cool, or especially the colours, but I thought it was very cool. I got the phone case and everything. And yeah, I was number 55, and yeah, like I said, it wasn't the best first race, but I still enjoyed it. My first career win, I never won a race in karting. Well, I won heat races, but I never won a final in karting. And then I never won a race in Ginetta Juniors either. So it wasn't until I got to British GT. Well, actually, no, it's the Silverstone 24 Hour. So in an Aston Martin, that was my first official win, which being a 24-hour race seems a bit odd. I'd say I first became professional when W Series, to be honest. Effectively what W Series did is it professionalised movements motorsport overnight. It enabled us to race with a funded seat and with the prize money, be able to do it as a profession and dedicate our full time to it. So W Series, and then fortunately, given that leg up, I've been able to continue with that. When I first met Veloce, it's very different to how it is now. It's a lot smaller, but I remember I went into their old office, and it's a small house at the time. And I knew Rupert a little bit, but not that well, and met Maz, met the gang, and sat down for the meeting. I was actually quite nervous because I thought it was actually quite a big, I was young, I didn't have meetings back then, or serious meetings. They had a formal boardroom, and all I remember was asking for a cup of tea and Rupert coming down with about 20 rich tea biscuits, which he proceeded to eat out of a bowl himself. And I was not sure about him, but even still, it's something we can laugh about now, and it's, yeah, makes sense now. Now I know him, it's not so weird. First piece of advice I remember being given, there's a few, but I do remember the first one that stands out for me was, for some reason, I used to always go around the outside of everyone. Like when I started in go-karting, I didn't really understand the concept of going up the inside to overtake, so I constantly was going around the outside and getting pushed off. So I remember the first thing someone said was like, just go up the inside, stop going around the outside, which probably isn't the most relevant advice, but yeah, it stuck with me.